All right, everybody, we are back again for the Coach's Compass. As we always say, don't know what episode we're on because we just been continuously rolling, having fun with this, bringing on guests from all over the world and continuing to elevate the game over here. It's your boy, Coach Coop. It's your boy, Jay, reporting live all the way from Europe. And as always, we got a nice special guest for us today. But don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, comment, and all that stuff to continue to elevate this podcast so we can go ahead and continue to get more and more guests on and maybe help our production so we can get more, cameras and mics and all that good stuff to make this thing look even prettier. But bringing in our boy Arnaud all the way from Paris. He's the owner of All Around Athlete, studied at Florida International University, ran strength and conditioning at Christopher Columbus High School in Miami, worked at Bommaritos, which is a strength and conditioning facility or performance facility down in Miami. He also was working at University of Miami, head of strength and conditioning for multiple teams in France. I went through the whole resume. There's too many to read off because some of them I'm going to butcher anyway because my French is awful, right? But currently right now is the head of strength and conditioning for the Paris Musketeers in the ELF and has trained many high-level guys over here in Europe, including Mahungu, you got Kevin Mwamba. You got a whole bunch of dudes that I know you've been training with because I just know those two specifically because I played with them when we were with the Frankfurt Galaxy. So welcome, brother, and it's a pleasure to have you on.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me.
Bro, so, big month in mental health. How are you doing, bro? Like, how is everything going for Arnaud? Like, we're talking just life. Like, how is Arnaud's life going? And I'm pronouncing your name right, too.
I mean, my life is... What's up?
Am I pronouncing the name right, too? Because I don't want to mess up.
Just say Arnaud. No D at the end. Don't pronounce the D at the end. Just say Arnaud. That's it.
Told you the French was awful,
bro. That's American. Like back in the States, that was the same stuff. Like Arnaud, I was like, no, do you know how to say R and no? Just Arnaud. Like R yes, Arnaud. That's pretty easy for you guys. Keep it simple.
I love it.
But yeah. Right now I'm doing great mentally. I mean, I'm living the dream. So being the head strength guy for the Musketeers, that's the type of job I always wanted. And then with my company, I'm helping a lot of players all around France and hopefully Europe soon. And there's nothing better to be helping players to get to their goals. So I'm doing great. My little daughter she's doing fine. We just won the first game. So hey, can get any better than this?
That's what's up, bro. So as we jump into this, what brought you into this field of work? Like, what got you into strength and conditioning?
All right. So back in the day, I was a football player in France. I mean, I played for 20 years, played national teams for 15 years. And then for me, the best way to stay in sports, because back in the day, you couldn't get money being like a football coach, was to be a strength coach. So I actually started studying strength and conditioning in college. But that wasn't my, like I said, like in France, it was tough back in the day because it wasn't popular to be a strength coach. Like it was hard to make money out of it. So I jumped in a regular job for 2 years. And then after that, I realized it wasn't what I wanted to do for my life. So after 2 years, I decided to quit my job and then I try to go to I went to Miami to actually try to find a job over there and actually leave from what I wanted to do, be a strength coach. So I left everything in France, went there with my ex-wife, trying to find a job and then that was it. But yeah, at first I wanted to do that just to help people out and trying to stay in football and trying to get money out of it. Because being just a regular football coach back in the day, you were not getting any money.
Yeah, that's a tough road, especially over here. I mean, we're coming from America, so obviously we've seen, performance gyms or strength and conditioning coaches at everywhere you go, like when you go from the high school to college and then professional level. And that's been a huge lack over here in Europe. Before, like when you went to the States, how hard was it to like find a job and find a place to work at?
I mean, it was pretty tough. I mean, I had to before I actually went there, I texted all the university in Miami, private centers, asking for internship because you don't walk out there and say I want a job. Like you gotta actually prove them who you are, especially being French. Like I was like, yo, you guys know actually how to train a football player in France? Like you guys play football in France? You know how it is. So, I think my first message that I sent was for FIU to do an internship, and then the guy answered me. I was like, yeah, I'm coming to Miami. I'm French. I study strength and conditioning in France. I just want to get there, help you guys train the team, learn from you, and then that's how it all started. So it was tough at first because once you walk in there, like not being American, being French, they're gonna test you and see what you got into. I mean, being an intern being American, they're gonna test you first. But being French is even worse. So I have to work hard and prove myself like that I was actually good to do the job. And then after that, they trusted me. So first was FIU, and then just be an intern. I got hired at Bommarito for the draft prep. After that, I mean, I just showed them that I was actually doing the job well, and then they actually put me into Miami Hurricanes after that. Because the first time I actually messaged them, I mean, the University of Miami, everybody wants to intern over there. Like it's the big schools. Like you want to have that on your resume. You want to have that logo on your resume. They didn't never answer me because nobody knew who I was, and they got so many people asking for it. But yeah, be working for Bommarito, the guy, the owner from Bommarito, actually pushed me and talked about me to the head guy over there in Miami. So that's how I got a internship after that over there.
Which one of those places that you landed? Because you went FIU, you got Christopher Columbus, you got Bommaritos, you got the University of Miami. Out of those, like which one did you learn the most and have the most fun at?
It's different for me. Every time people ask me what I learn, is like in those big schools, you don't especially learn how to train people as specifically because you know how it is in college. They're trying to break you and make you tough mentally. Like they're more like, all right, we're gonna do. I ain't gonna lie, some stupid ass shit sometimes. Like when you sit in the office and you listen to the guy say, "Oh, we're gonna do lunges with 225 all the way down to the field and then come back." It's like, yo, what's the whole point of it? Like
Okay, trust them.
the head
Move
guy,
on.
yeah, the head guy was like, "Oh, if they got big glutes, they're good football players. They're gonna be good on the field." I was like, all right, doesn't make sense, but yeah. But like the what you learn in college is actually how to manage people and then talk to the guys, like how you can create relationship. Like the head strength guys, like they might not be good of fucking doing programming and all that shit, but they got people around them. They're good at it, but they know how to talk to the players and get them get the job done. So in college, I learned how to manage the weight room. Like when you got big ass groups in the weight room, you got to be able to organize your workouts. So it's not a shit show in there. But like actually, when I learned strength and conditioning, specifically how to train people, is at Bommarito. Because over there, everything is based on science. I mean, that's why you got all the NFL players training over there. Like, he's very close to the medical side. Like, he's very smart. I mean, he's good at what he's doing. So pretty much what I'm doing right now with my training system is from him. Because I ain't gonna lie, like the shit that he does over there, like everything is based on science, on how the body works, and I mean, he's good at it. So, but yeah, that's pretty much how I learned the science with him and how to manage people and work with the team, big ass groups with the college team. And fun wise, I had fun everywhere. I mean, I ain't gonna lie. Like for me, it was just being French, playing football, and you train people in University of Miami and FIU and around LFL players. Like I had fun everywhere because I was watching those guys on TV. I was a big fan of Sean Taylor when he was playing back in the day at the U. So yeah.
That's dope. Yeah, but hearing because a lot of guys don't know what they're getting into when they go to college in the States, right? They kind of just see the Instagram reels and the hype behind what they're doing, but both of us played at that level of where you got coaches that make you do some dumb shit, right? Like I remember
Mhm.
we had game day like at the end of summer where you had to do 100 power cleans in 4 quarters, and then after that overtime was push the 200-pound sled 200 yards, like to see if you could mentally make it through and were strong enough to do it. And it was like, yo, what's the point of this? But hearing
Mhm.
that every university kind of does some dumb shit is wild because a lot
Mhm.
of guys think they're going to go over there with the best. Now, don't get me wrong. A lot of these strength coaches do have a lot of knowledge and know what they're doing, especially like you said, working with athletes and getting to know them and making sure it's not a shit show. But when you're in the individual sector, like with Bommarito, able to really focus in on the science, especially with those professional guys. You know what I mean? Like those are
Mhm.
guys that are playing at a very high level that have injuries that they're coming with or something that, they really need to get specific on. Can you take us through like a basic day, like what it was like with Bommarito when you were doing combine training?
Okay, so pretty much we had the guy walking in the morning. We around like 8 on 7:30. We gave them breakfast. So breakfast first. After that, they went to treatments to make sure everything was set for the speed session. Like everything was activated by the physios and everything. So make sure everything is in line. After that was speed session for an hour 30 on the field, and then we jumped right away into the weight room. And then afternoon would be how do you guys call that test that they have to take for the combine, like the mental test?
Oh,
just to make sure you guys know how to read.
the Wonderlic test. Yeah,
Yeah,
the
there you
Wonderlic
go. There you
test.
go. Yeah. So they would practice that in the afternoon, and then more medical. And then I think once or twice a week they will have a position coach just to make sure they know how to do all the drills for the combine. But it was pretty much the same thing every day. Like I ain't gonna lie, at the end of the draft prep, they were like all sick of it because I mean it's the routine, you gotta go through it. But shit, like doing the same shit every day and every day out, like it's hard for them. But hey, at the end of the prep, you're trying to get that money, so you gotta do what you gotta do, right?
Yeah, I mean it's 8 to 12 weeks of doing shit that doesn't really like apply to football, like 40-yard test, the L drill, the 5-10-5, and that stupid ass Wonderlic test. Like I remember when I was going through it, I didn't study for it. I just kind of whatever it is, what it is. Like I know how to read, but you can do what you want with it. But I know it gets very mundane because you're 8 to 12 weeks of just right. You're getting the stance start, right? Working on how to cut out of this and how to do the 5-10-5. How many reps to the bench are you gonna hit? Like it becomes a lot, and it also becomes just like a huge mental factor. But like at the end, you're with a whole bunch of guys that are trying to achieve the same goal. So you kind of all just like stick together. And you're like, all right, we're just going to make it through this period. And like, we just got to get to whether we're going to pro day or going to a combine, like we'll find a way to make it through. But with all of that like you learn from the universities and Bommaritos, what are you taking? Like, what did you take from there that you immediately, as soon as you got back, like implemented like back over here?
Like I told you, like the thing that I took from Bommarito is like the whole system that he's got, because for me it's one of the best that I've been around, like the way he trains people. I just switch it up with my own thoughts. I ain't gonna lie, I'm not smart enough to create new things. Like we got smarter people that came before us, they got everything down for us, like, and then we just gotta use that. So me personally, what I do, I try to see what the best people do in the fields, and then I just pick their brain and see what I think is cool and what I think works. So let's say you want to do work on your max strength, right? You're gonna look at power lifter. All right, that's what they do for training. They are the strongest guy in the world. Shit, if I want my guy to be strong, I'm gonna use what they're doing, and I'm just gonna switch it up and then make sure it works for my guys because they're not power lifter, they're football players or whatever they do. But that's what I do every time. So, and then, like I said, like the way I talk to my players now, and then I can create relationship with them is I've taken that from the guys, the head guys in the colleges, because like I said, sometimes you can watch those guys talk to the players like, yo, he knows how to fucking get people to do some crazy shit. So, and then that's how you learn it, because every player is different. You cannot talk to the players the same way you're gonna be talking to you, Coop, or you gotta find a way to make sure that the information that you want them to understand is gonna be understood differently to every player. So you gotta make sure you know how to talk to each player and see their profile, like how they're gonna react to motivation. Not everybody is the same. So that's, like they say, like it's the heart of coaching, right? Everybody can do programming and say, hey, you gotta do 5x5 on the bench, but whatever. Like that's the easy part. But like, make sure you gotta know how to talk to the people so they actually do it and they actually trust you as a strength coach. Because if they don't trust you, they won't be doing your program.
Can you give us like a little breakdown of like your timeline? So you were at FIU, and then from FIU you went to Miami, and then from Miami you went to the facility with
Bommarito. So yeah, when the first time that I went to Miami for 3 months, well, I interned at Bommarito for 3 months.
Yeah.
I had to come back to France to get my visa. When I went back there, I went to FIU for the whole season. I stayed with them for a whole year. After that, Bommarito hired me for I think it was 5 months for the draft prep, or 3 months, something like that. After that, I went to Christopher Columbus High School. Went back to Bommarito for the draft prep in the second year, and after that, I actually went to Miami Hurricanes for the whole year. The fun part in Miami Hurricanes is I had to chance to see two strength coaches, two head guys, because I was there from August to December, so the whole season was with a head guy, and then he got fired I think December 31st. And then they brought a new head guy, so I had the chance to see different ways to train people, because the first one was like whole school training pretty much, so it never stops in the weight room. You go from bench to doing clean to do whatever. Like that's was the way he was thinking, right? He was his mentor was the head guy for Penn State back in the day and he was the one who created the HIIT training. So that's what we were doing. And then the second head guy was big on Olympic lifting. So pretty much you were doing snatch and then for 5 minutes doing nothing and then doing snatches again. I had to see like both ends of the spectrum. Like one doing like you never stop in the weight room, you just go back and forth, and the other end is like do cleans and then rest for 5 minutes doing nothing. So I had the chance to see like two philosophies of training people, which was cool. I ain't gonna lie.
With you guys, so you got the FIU under your belt. You have and you were the head strength coach at the high school.
No, I was just assistant for the high school.
And then after your time with Miami, you went straight to Paris.
Yeah, I came back. I mean, I went to south of France when I'm from because
Mm-hmm.
the ELF, I mean, the Paris Musketeers got created last season.
Mm-hmm.
So I went back to south of France when I'm from. I created my company All Around Athletes, and then when they opened up the Musketeers last season, they actually hired me.
Nice. With all
Mm-hmm.
those philosophies that you've taken, where it's like you have the strength coach that's just like we gonna do fucking forward lunges with 225 on our backs, the football field length, and you have the coach that come in with the Olympic lifting, and then you have the HIIT training, and then you have Loretto where you're working more so, I guess, like combine training. Is like with all that, what have you kind of taken and made it yours? Like with regards to like what's your philosophy now that you've kind of taken and you more so implement with Paris and with your own company?
Um, with my company, I'm trying to make sure like I mean, my system is gonna be the same for everybody. Like, I ain't gonna change. Like, people say, hey, you got a program for DBs, for receivers, for linebackers. It doesn't work like that. Like, I'm gonna have my system gonna be the same for everybody, pretty much. I'm gonna switch it up. For me, the big changes like between big skills and the bigs. Like, that's all I'm gonna switch it up like this. Because for me, at the end of the day, they all gotta be strong, powerful, and fast. So all of them. Maybe more max strength for the big guys because that's what we need. But yeah, my system is based on compound. First compound is gonna be compound movement like bench, squats, incline, reverse lunges, and then after that I'm gonna have complexes where I work like auxiliary work, so small muscles. Make sure they stay away from injuries. So for me, that's my first goal. Like, as a strength coach, I don't care if I got strong ass players or fast players. If they're injured for game day, I haven't done my job because they won't be available to be playing, and that's what they're here for, right? If I want to be strong athletes, I'm gonna have them do powerlifting. But I'm training football players, so at the end of the day, if they're not doing football, something is wrong with me, with my training, with my system. So I have a lot of injury prevention in my system. Like, we're gonna work every joint, not every day, but let's say do upper body today. We're gonna work scaps, we're gonna work shoulders, we're gonna work traps, neck, everything. Lower body wise, we're gonna make sure we work your hips, your knees, your ankles during your rest times. And then sometimes you gotta do some stupid shit as well. Like, you gotta make sure, like, on practice field, like, you gotta try to find out who's gonna be kind of tough, who's gonna be there for the hard time, and who's gonna be a fucking pussy. But sometimes you gotta go through that shit. But that, for me, that's not my main thing with the guys. I'm trying to be smart, and I'm trying to keep them like injury free. That's my first goal.
What are you using to kind of track your guys and also like test them? At the end of off season, going into season, or like, are you doing testing, and then also are you doing like a conditioning test or anything like that with the team? Because I mean, that's something that we saw back stateside, and you probably saw when you were at Miami and FIU, like all these tests that are doing. Like, do you use that stuff?
Yes, the only for me the hard thing with the Musketeers is, like, you know how it is. Is pro now, but it's not real pros. Like, in the off season, me being in the south of France, most of the players are in Paris because I don't live in Paris. We don't have our own weight room, so everything is away from me, right? So I'm not able to be testing everybody because it's hard. Like, the team is not gonna pay me to come up to Paris, live in Paris. Actually, I don't want to do it because I don't want to live in Paris. I rather live in the south of France with the sun. But yeah, and yeah, they won't be paying for. I mean, even the players, like, they're not gonna come one day just to make sure we test them on the bench or 40 yards or whatever. Like, yeah, like I say, like, at this level, like, all of them are strong, all of them are fast. That's what they're here. And if actually we recruit the guys, is because we know they're gonna be strong and fast on the field, right? That's what they hear at that level. So, like I said, like, I don't test them in the like ideal word. I would test them on the field like 40 yards just to make sure they got to see the speed, like acceleration and then top speed. change of direction with the L test or the shuttle, bench, and then verts. That's it. For me, we had conditioning this season. That was a test that I found on the internet. I just mix it up and do like my own thing with it. It was like a shuttle. They had different times and different distance for the positions, like big skills and then skills with a 35 rest in between. They had to make their time in the distance. That was it. And then but like ideally everywhere, let's say I have my own weight room and everything, I'll be working with fucking gym aware everywhere, and then just to make sure we hit that right speed for the bar. But like we don't have that. Like in Paris, I'm training a guy in fitness park. Like we don't have the own weight room, so I have to be working out the guys between the old lady who's doing hip thrust, the guy who's filming himself doing biceps curls in the rack station. It is what it is, but yeah, I mean, I'm trying to do my best with what I got, and then for me, it's just enough to be right here and have the guys, and that's it.
So do you think with that not having like your own space, like with the Paris Musketeers, to be able to train guys, like do you think that's hindered your growth as a coach, or like even the growth of athletes? You know what I mean? Like, is that like a huge factor that you see that needs to be changed out here in Europe?
I mean, it has to be changed because, I mean, we're so far back. I mean, especially in France. I don't know how it is in Germany, but I think Germany is better with this because I've seen you guys have some crazy gyms and facilities over there. So I think you guys are ahead of us. That's for sure. But like in France, like we are like far back. Like if you want to find some high qualities facilities, you got to go to the highest level, even though they're like it's not crazy. But for me as a strength coach, I think it makes me better to be in those conditions because I gotta make sure I adapt to everything. Like I say, like I'm gonna be in a fitness park, somebody's gonna be using that rack that I want. Shit, I gotta adapt quick and then find somebody else to make sure my athlete is doing what I want him to do. I mean, for me, it's gonna be easy though. That day I'm getting that fat ass weight room with 20 racks, and that shit's gonna be easy for me. Like everybody's gonna have their own racks. I'm gonna, hey, you gotta do this and this and this. But like right now, it actually make me better to be in those conditions. You gotta be able to adapt to everything, find ways to train the guys with what I have, like bands and all that stuff. But yeah, that one day when the Musketeers are gonna build that big ass weight room like the one they have in Madrid, the Bravos, they have like a nice facilities over there. Yeah, I mean it's gonna be easier for me. And like for the athletes, I think it's not good for them because they have to train those private gym. But as long as they're training, I think they're getting better. That's how we need, right? So for me, 45-pound plate is the same at fitness park or in the Michigan State weight room, right? It's gonna be the same thing for everybody. As long as they're pushing the weights and following my program, I'm happy with it. So, and the thing is, like, I created an app. I send everything through my app. I have everything back. I mean, I know what they're doing. I know when they're lifting. I know everything. For me, that's good enough.
What's the app called? Is it called All Around Athlete?
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
Nice. And so you're able to track, like literally send them their programs through the app. Are they able to send you videos and everything on there too?
Yes, sir. So I just with my app, I'm trying to have a tool that's gonna make my life easier and the players' life easier. They're gonna have everything on it, videos of the exercise, but that's actually me doing the exercise. They can text me via the chat. They can send me pictures, videos, voicemail, everything. So every time they got a question, they just text me or talk to me via the app, and then I try to answer that question really quick. I can switch up every exercise on the app. So let's say the guy texted me, say, hey, I don't have the machine over there, or my ankle hurts. Can we switch it up? Like in the next 5 minutes, I can switch it up. So yeah, I trying to have something easy for them and for me.
How beneficial has it been to have that? And because I mean, you're in the south of France, and you got to go to Paris. You got people in Paris. Like, and then on top of that, do you are you working with other athletes outside of American football, or is it just football for you?
For me right now, mainly it's football because this is where I'm known in France. So I'm trying to open it up to different sports because for me, like when you're a strength guy, especially in football, like you specialize in football, we can train every sports. Like I know in rugby now in France, like all the strength guys, they're looking it up and they're actually picking on what we're doing in football because for me, we have the best athletes on the field. Like they're all trying to be fast, strong, like we are in football, like change of direction, acceleration, because speed is the main focused now. Like we don't want big guys that can't move anymore. So in football, that's what we do. So actually, I was talking to some of the strength guy from the French national rugby team. And they're actually going to the States every year to see what they're doing in the universities. And when you look at what they're doing, like pretty much that's what we're doing at football. So yeah, I'm trying to open it up and trying to open my system to different sports because I think I can help a lot of people out there.
What do you think it is about Europe where it's like it's so hard? Because I mean, I've been living here in Hungary for a long time, and like breaking down barriers to like work with different sports always get difficult because like you obviously, and the structure how it is in America where it's like we have like long off seasons like every sport.
Mm-hmm.
Here it's like very club culture and academy culture. So like for you to get an athlete, like you probably know, like these soccer athletes, they're playing all year round. Like the chance for you to be able to work with them is if they need rehab, and I'm pretty sure it's probably the same in handball. It's probably the same in, I'm not sure what the rugby culture is like, but what are you trying to do to try and like break down those doors and try and access athletes in different sports in France?
I mean, I think like you said, the first thing we're gonna have to work on is changing the mentalities of people, right? Especially in Europe, like when you talk about lifting weights at the early age, they're all like, "Oh, you're gonna stop them from growing." I was like, no, it doesn't work like that. Like it's been proven like doesn't do anything. And then the second part is like when you get to the level of the people they can actually pay you being their coach, they all have like a strength coach in their team. Right. So if you get to the pro level, like rugby, soccer, they all got strength coaches over there. So you're trying to hit that portion of the people between that. And then those people in France or in Europe, they're not ready to be paying for a strength coach. For them, like a soccer player, like I don't need to work on being stronger or faster. Like all I got to do is fucking do soccer. Right. You're trying to have a soccer player do lifting weights. He's going to ask you, oh, can I do squats with the ball between my legs? Because that's all they want to do. Right. So you got to make sure they change. I got a basketball player, like I think he's 13 now. I had training him because his father played with me in football, and he's doing actually great. Like he's dunking at 13. Like everybody's like watching him, like, yo, what you doing to actually be dunking at 13, right? And then he's telling them, yo, I've been training with Arnaud for like 2 years now, and then see, it's working. So now I have players, I mean, teammates of him, like, or their parents reaching out to me, like, oh, can you actually train my guys my son or my daughter to actually jump higher? But I think that's what we gotta do. We gotta work on making sure like the people understand like lifting weights, you're gonna be able to play longer and have a healthier career. Like if you gotta start early. And I think that's what you guys understood in the US. Like you gotta start early. So, like, especially I was training a professional soccer woman a couple years ago, and she was telling me like players from America, when they walk in France, they're not that good technically, like compared to the French players, but like physically they fucking kill everybody, right? Because they've been lifting weights in high school, college, and all that. And I was like, so you guys just gotta the technical part, just work on your physical, right? But they're like, nah, because for them, like if you get bigger or stronger, you're not gonna be able to be running faster, which is false. But like for me, the number one priority is to change the mentality of the people. I mean, concerning the strength and conditioning part.
No, that's a culture thing.
Yeah, because have you seen a change in the culture? You know what I mean? Because I mean, you've been over here for longer than Jay's been over here for a long time, but seeing a change in the culture is probably pretty tough because like you're still in football and you're trying to get all these people to like buy into like, you should be doing strength training and everything, but has the culture actually a little like shifted at all to like actually start buying into it? Or is it still, because I remember my first year over here in 2017, everybody was going to the gym and just trying to look good. And then, all right, I'm going to go on about my day and not knowing like how to follow a program.
I think that it's changing, and I ain't gonna lie, like you say, like maybe the social media might be a little part of it, because it's changing. Like I think we're getting better at getting into the gym. Like we got more people getting into the gym. That's the first good part. The second part is we got to make sure they're doing the right thing, right? But that's gonna be, I think, in a couple of years. But like, yeah, for me, I've seen it, because back in the day, like even football players, like nobody was training. I mean, they were going into the gym, but like couple days a week. But like, even though the young generation now, they know they got to work out, right? They go into the gym, they're lifting weights. Like you say, sometimes it's not smart because they don't know what to do, but at least they're doing a little something. So I think they're changing their mind, and then you actually see it in different sports like rugby now. I think rugby, like they're training at a young age. They're actually getting the guys into the gym and doing the right stuff. Like if I have a rugby team in my facility, next to my facility, it's like a pro team. And even though the young generation, I know they're doing the weight room and they're doing the right stuff over there. So I think it's changing a little bit. Social media is working on our side because you got all those, I mean, people on it with nice bodies and everybody wants to look good. So people going into the gym now, I think we just gotta make sure we change their mind of, okay, you want to go into the gym, you want to be you want to have a nice body, you want to play sports. If you want to play sports, you got to make sure you train this way, and not like this guy doing on a social media. But yeah, I think the mentality has been changing. I mean, especially into the weight room. Now you're talking about the field, like speed stuff. It's enough different stuff. I mean, different level. Like people gotta understand that if you want to be a good player on the field, you gotta run. Speed for me the priority. Lifting weight is after. But like it's hard for somebody to say, hey, you gotta run and then lift weights.
Yeah, that's a tough one because a lot of guys they don't want to do both. You know, and I'll do one or the other, coach. Like I want to get fast, so I'm just like you say, just run. All right, I'm just gonna run. But if you tell them that you need to add the weights in with it, coach, now you're asking a little bit too much. You know what I mean? That ain't the way to go. You know what I mean? I'm trying to do one or the other. If that makes me better, then okay, cool. But if it makes me a little bit better, I'll just do that. And with regards to that, also, what are you seeing is a lack in coaching over here? You know what I mean? Like what's missing over here in the coaching aspect to also get these guys to buy in and actually like know that they're getting correct programs and knowing how to actually coach a lot of these athletes, right? Because some guys come from the private sector where they've only worked with, that old lady in the gym, or haven't had enough, like haven't done internships and stuff like that, and haven't gotten the experience, or kind of just bouncing out here and then saying they know what they're doing. Like what is lacking over here, and what should change from the coaching aspect?
I mean, for me, the first thing we gotta change is what they learn in school, right? I had three interns this year in my private facility. They were on the last year of the degree, so they've been studying actually strength and conditioning for 3 years, right? And then I was like, all right, guys, first weeks we're gonna talk about this and this and this, and then next week you guys come up with 2 sessions, like upper body and lower body, right? Just I'm gonna give you a regular thing. Is a JPP phase. Basic stuff, just come up with a hour workout for upper and lower. Man, those guys came up the next week with some crazy shit. I was like, yo, where do you guys learn all that? I was like, oh, that's what we learn in college. I was like, but you guys, we don't do that shit anymore. Like, you guys gotta learn new stuff. And I was talking to them, like the teachers in the college, like the old guys, like they don't read, they just keep what they've been learning, right? And I think that's the main problem, especially in France. We're all about aerobic work, being endurance work. But like for me, it's not the main thing anymore. Like who cares if you can run 2 hours, bro? If you slow as fuck, like that won't change anything during the game. Like I was talking to them, yo, you gotta work on your speed. What do you know about speed? Like, do you know how to do acceleration, top speed, standard duration, all that? It's like, no, we don't learn that thing in school. And for me, that's big because for me, that's the priority on the field for athletes, right? And then same thing for strength. I mean, for the weight room, strength work. Like they're using those old methods that these guys were using back in the days, like fucking burger and stuff, or they were all fucking on juice. This shit doesn't work anymore. Like we got smarter people that came up with new methods now, and then we just got to use that. But I think that's the main problem. That's what we learn in school, and then I think the mentality of the students, like most of them, they're not ready to learn outside of the box. Like, okay, that's what I learned in school, but I don't think that. I think there's other thing outside of that, right? Because for me, what I learned in school, like, okay, I learned that in school, but most of the things that I use now in my system and my training, I mean, that's not what I learned in school. That's what I learned in those internship or by reading new books. I mean, reading new studies, watching podcasts, and then just listening to best strength coaches in the world, right? And for me, yeah, I think what we learn in school and those guys, I mean, that's not their fault, right? Because they go to school to be a strength coach, and then what the teacher is telling you is supposed to be the right thing, right? Because they're supposed to be the fucking expert in the room. But yeah, so I mean, I ain't gonna lie. I think next year I'm trying to be a teacher in the college right across my gym. Because yeah, the thing that they learn over there, bro, is, I mean, it's wild, man. I mean, after 3 years in college, I was like just telling them for me the basics, right? And I was like, oh, that's crazy. We never heard of that. I mean, there was like after 2 weeks with you guys, we learned more than 3 years in college. I was like, well, that's why, man, because it's not supposed to be like that.
What does that look like? That transition from like in school in France, where obviously whatever, because I know in Hungary they do it where it's like you get a PE degree, but here it's technically exercise science. But like that exercise science degree is just like you guys probably do 4 years, and then after that you do an internship, or do people usually do the masters? Like, do people go straight into like being interns or GAs for soccer clubs? Like, what does that path usually look like?
So pretty much you have I think the first degree is 3 years. And I think every year you gotta have an internship. Like for the 3 interns that I had this year, they were on the last year of the degree. But the intern with me for the whole year. Like I had them, I think twice a week, depending on the schedule, for like the whole afternoon. And after when you're done with that degree, you can go master for 2 more years. But after that, after you're getting your degree, you can just apply for a job, and then if you have the job, you can go. So that's what I was telling them. I was like, yo, you guys think you're ready to actually train a team right now? Because you're gonna get that degree at the end of the year. Like for me, you guys not ready to have athletes under your control to actually train them. Like you don't know the right stuff. So, but yeah, so they have to do internship, and I think for me that's the that's the best way for them to learn. Like that's what I'm trying to have a good internship program in my private facility. What I learned, like I told you guys, what I learned in my system is what I learned during my internships. I'm gonna make sure like when the guys that actually trust me to come to my gym to do their internship, they're gonna get out of it with actually something they're gonna be able to use in the next career, right? Because I don't want them just to come up and say, oh, you gotta clean those weights and that's it, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't work like that, right? You gotta give back to the next generation. Yeah, I was making sure every week we were sitting down for 2 hours, talk about how we train the people, how we use different methods. Because yeah, I want to make sure we share that knowledge because they're not getting it in school. So
I'd like to you dive down into like that internship process, because I feel I've been working with two guys myself, and sometimes I feel like it just comes a little chaotic, where it's just like, where do I start? Like strength, speed, methods. Like I don't know what you know. Do you know like what general adaptation syndrome is? Do you know what PA So it's like sometimes, and I mean like in America, we usually don't do internships until like our last few years, but I feel like how you're explaining it, if they go internship every year, it's just like you can kind of build your internship process off where they're at with their development in school. So like, what is your internship process, or like how have you tried to break it down with regards to like their progression of learning?
So it's pretty simple for me. They're gonna walk in, and what we're gonna try to do is actually teach them how to coach our system, my system. I'm gonna tell them, yo guys, what you learn in school is cool, but what we're gonna be doing in here is my system. So you actually guys gonna teach how to coach squats the way I want it to be coached. I want you guys to use the same words that I'm gonna be using when I coach squats or whatever. And then, so the first couple weeks, they're not going to be doing anything. They're going to be sitting there, like watching me coach or my partner. I'm going to teach them how to do maybe the warm-ups, right? So every warm-up, we got to warm up every day differently, different routine. Before the athletes walk in, we're going to show them the different exercise, explain them, oh, you got to do this and this. You got to tell the athletes, they got to activate this and this. We're doing this because today's lower body, we're going to work on the spine mobility first. So we got to actually teach them how we do things in all around athletes. And then every week we're going to sit down for 2 hours, and then we're going to teach them why we do things this way, right? So and then we're going to ask them question, hey, do you guys have any question about what we're doing? We're going to be talking about speed. So let's say first week is going to be, like I told you, like you got to come up with 2 workouts on JPP, because right now we're doing JPP with the athletes. So you got to understand what we're doing. Sometimes we make sure they go through the workouts, because sometimes, when you coach somebody, the guy say, hey, have you done it? Bro, you telling me to do this, but have you done it? You know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta, I was telling them, yo, some athletes, they're fucking douchebags. So they're gonna ask you, hey, you asked me to do 20 pull-ups. All right, bro, do the 20 pull-ups first. Have you gone through it? So we're gonna make sure they actually feel what we're doing with the athletes. Because for me, it's very important to be what's the word? To be I don't know the word in English, but you got to be able to feel what we're doing with the athletes. So we're going to make them do workouts. We're going to teach them our system. We're going to teach them the right way. We wanted them to teach different position or exercises. And then going through the weeks, we're going to talk on different subjects. So it's going to be the warm-ups. We're going to be, okay, this month we're doing max strength. So we're using that method, the 5-3-1. Can you guys do research on this and then come back the next week with a presentation of what you think is good, not good with our methods? We actually do a workout of 5-3-1. And then we're going to be talking about speed stuff. So, okay, this week we're talking about acceleration. So we're going to, you guys come up to me with different drills for acceleration. We're going to discuss about it. Next week is going to be top speed, change the duration. I mean, we're trying to implement and talk about different subjects every week. So we go through, and then at the end of the year, they have to actually give back some man, I don't know what in English. Some
feedback.
Yeah, feedbacks to the school. They have questions. So I'm gonna make sure they got everything right, so they actually can pass at the end of the year.
Would you say the degree is even worth it? You know what I mean? Because like you talk about it, like a lot of these guys, like they're not really learning anything. Like, is it even worth their time? Like, why not just get a personal training degree or whatever it may be, and go get some experience from like a coach like yourself? Like, go intern with you and not have to like waste your time like studying things that you're most likely not going to use, that are like old just bullshit.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's not worth it, but like at the end of the day, when you're trying to get a job, especially in France, like those people, like the head guy or whoever is gonna hire you, is gonna look up at your resume. He's gonna say, "Oh, you got all those experiences, right? But what diploma you got? Right? You ain't got shit." I mean, for me, maybe you know stuff, maybe you don't know stuff. You got no paper to actually prove it. So even for me, like I went to college, but I dropped out everything. So I don't have any diploma in college. I just got a personal training certificate, right, in France. So I'm just going back to school now to get my master. So I hope I get my master at the end of the year. But yeah, for me, just you got to go through it because you need to have it on your resume if you're trying to get a job. But like the degree, the first degree is not worth shit. Like for me, even on your resume, like having this, nah, you need to have a minimum a master. Like master is gonna be kind of big on your resume. For me, like people was telling me, "Oh, why are you going back to school like 38? Like what's the point of it?" I was like, "Yeah, but like when I walk in the room, I'm gonna have the experience because I've been in the state and do all that stuff. I'm gonna have the diploma, so nobody can tell me shit now. So you wanna hire me? There's no reason you can't hire me because I have the papers and have the experience. So yeah, you need that for your resume if you wanna get to the pro level and then be hired for big teams. I think you need to have the diplomas.
Like, what does that diploma even mean, though? You know what I mean? Like, when at the end of the day, like, how much is it actually regulated? Like, because if it was regulated that much, like, you would have to like redo the tests like every year. Like, you're talking about like doctors and like all like people in the healthcare system that have to re-go through these tests, and like these like even lawyers and everything. To get truly certain.
But is it relegated in college? I don't think you need a degree. I think you just need that CSCS, correct?
Yeah, that's it.
Nope. I think that's why they put the I think that's why they put the CSCS back in the day, because they had those old ass head guy. They never went to school for it, and then we got a couple players that died on the field. It was like those people, they don't have no diploma, they don't know what they're doing out there, and I think that's why they put the CSCS. But like, even though the CSCS, you just gotta read that book, take a 4 hours test on your computer, and you're a straight guy. I mean, that doesn't make no sense.
Crazy.
You can have that book open during the test.
I came out of college with my degree, and then I got my CSCS. And I'll be honest with you, until I did my internship with like my now mentor, I didn't know how to program. I had no idea how to program. I knew about concepts, but like to actually coach, I remember when I was on the first and I'm like, it's great that you're doing that, like having them like maybe helping them lead the warm up and do all these things when actually like coaching, because it's just like I didn't know how to program. You don't learn that in school. They don't teach you how to program in school. And then I didn't know how to coach, like stand in front of an individual and get buy-in from him. I was fucking nervous as fuck. I have 20 kids standing here looking at me, and I got to tell everybody what they're supposed to do. It's just like, and then you're trying to build a culture on top of that. Is like, there's a lot of things that you don't get in school with this damn CSCS book.
Yep. I mean, that's what I tell my interns. First of all, like, even though when I ask them to present us like what they be looking at for the when we talk for 2 hours, I was like, all right, now you stand up in front of us and explain us what you found out, right? And for me, that's the exercise they gotta know how to do it when you want to be a coach. Like you gotta be able to stand up in front of everybody. I mean, people, and then talk without be anxious or whatever. I think you gotta learn that, and you don't learn that stuff in schools.
Right.
Like I said, like you have best program. Like if you don't know how to talk to people or your players, it's gonna be tough for you to be a really, really, really good strength coach.
It's just wild to hear that. Like, I mean, it's with every avenue that you go down. Like everybody's looking at your resume, looking to see if you got a master. Like if you got a master's, okay, then you got more of a chance of getting this job. And then if you like you got a bachelor's, okay, like you got a little bit less of a chance. And then they go into your experience instead of like, why not looking at the experience over? And how are you going to get experience if you don't have these things? Like, what if you? I mean, because it's a little different. I don't know how it is in France. I know, like in Scandinavia area, like school is free. Like you can go ahead and continue to get a master's and all that stuff. But in the States, I guess that's a lot of money to potentially get a master's, and maybe you'll get a job to where you can pay that debt off. Like, how are we asking people to get these degrees and diplomas for maybe potentially, hopefully getting a job? And then on top of that, oh, you don't have enough experience, but I wasn't able to get experience because you guys didn't allow me to work at these places because I didn't have this fucking piece of paper.
I mean, that's the whole system, right? Especially you guys in the States, you guys paying for all the studies. I mean, going to school, like in France, it's the same thing. You pay 500 euros per year, and then you go to school you go to college, which is nothing. But yeah, I mean, and that's why maybe like people like myself, like we went to college for 5 years, and then I dropped out because I didn't get any degree because I wasn't paid for it. Maybe if I pay 40K a year, I make sure at the end of the 3 years I get my fucking bachelor. But that's different. But yeah, yeah, I mean that's tough, man. I mean, at the end of the day, masters or whatever, like, is how you know and who you know, right? Especially in the States, like you can be the best trained guy, you can have all your bachelors, masters, experience. If you don't know the head guy, like you won't find no job anywhere. So, which is tough, right? But that's how you know that's who you know, who knows you at the end of the day.
What is like some of your top best advice that you're giving, your interns that are coming in, and also these people that are new to coaching? What is like your best advice for them and how to find success?
For me, it's like first thing is like you always got to learn something. Like I said, like there is, especially us in the strength field, like you got new technologies, we got new studies coming out every week. There is no new ways to train people, and then you got to make sure you don't settle with what you know, right? Because once you settle, you dying. Because people around you, they're gonna be working, they're gonna get better, and then even though for your players, like there is no way you cannot be as the strength coach getting better. Like you're asking your players to get better. You ain't doing shit on your side. Like you just settle because you're the head guy, and then that's it. I'm done with it. So you just gotta make sure you learn new stuff every day, get better as a strength coach. Second thing is, like, I think it's everywhere in life. You gotta make sure you work hard. Because if you don't work out, like you won't be able to get nowhere. Like that's the same thing everywhere. And then the last one is, for me, the most important. You got to make sure you treat people the right way. Like if you the best guy, but you fucking douchebag with your players, like there is no way they're gonna buy into you. And at the end of the day, that's what I tell people. Like me, Arnaud, what I do on the field in the weight room, like everybody can do it. Like I'm not the smartest guy out there, but like I know people, they came up to me because I am who I am, right? And I know I treat people the right way, and I'm trying to make sure I'm here for them. And I think they all coming back to me because I'm trying to be a good person around them, and trying to be right with them. Because like I say, like writing a program, everybody can do it, right? I'm sure there is better people than me out there doing this stuff. But at the end of the day, maybe I know how to relate to people and how to be nice to people. So make sure you're nice to people. So that's the biggest part for me.
Be a damn good person out there. That's been one transcending thing that we've heard across the board from all of you that are top coaches in this industry. And don't let it fall short. You are one of the guys. I mean, I've been watching your stuff since I heard about you through Mahungu and Mwamba, because I know what you're doing over there in France is amazing work. But before we end this thing, we're getting into our 90-second round. 1-word answers, 10 questions, most random stuff out there. Are you ready for it?
Yes, sir. Let's hear it.
All right, here we go. 90 seconds on the clock. What is your favorite post-workout snack?
Protein shake.
Best utility for coaches to program for their clients or athletes?
Ooh, I don't know. What does that mean?
Like, so any, like, if you have an app, you could use like spreadsheets, whatever, people, whatever people use to program.
Spreadsheet. I mean, on my app. I mean, you can ask me for my app if you want.
Favorite NFL team?
Ooh, right now I gotta go with the Dolphins. I mean, I've been in Miami for 4 years.
Pizza or burger?
Pizza.
One line everyone should learn in French.
Je t'aime.
Top athlete you've ever trained?
Kenny Stills.
Oh, damn.
Best speed equipment or tool in the industry?
Ooh, what is it? 1080. The speed system.
Oh, yeah, 1080.
Yeah, there you go.
What is your number one flaw as a coach?
My number one what?
Flaw as a coach. Downfall.
What is that? What's it flow?
He said, "What is
Oh,
it? No
yeah.
flaw.
Yeah.
No flaw."
Flaw.
I don't know. Monsters. I drink too much Monsters, I guess.
Best coach in the industry?
Strength coach.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to go with Carl Diet. Triphasic.
Would you rather be in a ring with a gorilla, tiger, or a bear?
I say a tiger.
All right, and that is the 90 seconds. Arnaud, appreciate you coming on, bro. A lot of knowledge dropped in
Thank you,
this
guys.
one, and also just
Appreciate you.
just hearing what it's like to navigate through it all. I mean, you guys have all got a chance to check out All Around Athlete. He's doing some great work over there in France, spreading the wings, getting all throughout Europe. He's currently with the ELF Musketeers, so if you see those boys balling and running fast, you know why. Reach out to that boy Arnaud, and this is the end of the day. Appreciate everybody checking in.
Thank you, guys.